You're helping let the truth ruin a good story with this Paul the Other One podcast. In the wake of Dolly Parton's passing, millions of people from all over the world have been left reflecting on what she truly left behind, and you can see that through the millions of Facebook messages that are no doubt filling your feed right now. It's more than just hit records though. She gave us a blueprint for living, loving and treating one another. In a world full of political noise where leaders constantly try to precious memories frame the past, Dolly taught us that real leadership starts with quiet, grounded integrity. Hearing sweet Music Man melodies won't fix our challenges, but leaning into the radical warmth and accountability that Dolly modelled, well, that might. Even in science fiction, when she appeared as a simulator hologram on the Orville to offer wisdom to the character of Havina, who was played by Kiwi Rena Owen, her advice was really simple and really profound. Try to do what's right, stand up for the persecuted, and lead with empathy. As we look toward the election here in Aotearoa, her passing is a wake-up call to demand the same character traits in our own leaders. Every election cycle we stand at 2 doors down from our future, walking a wildflowers-lined path to a better day, asking a crucial question. We scroll through political ads, listen to heated debates and ask ourselves, what kind of leadership do we actually need right now? When we evaluate candidates, we're often told to hold fast to right, pick a side, build a wall, or stay inside a narrow political box. But all I can do is remind you that real leadership isn't about division, it's about character. If there's one icon whose actions, beliefs, and ideals offer a masterclass in how to lead with integrity and impact, it's Dolly Parton. Consider her core philosophy, empathy born from lived experiences. Long before she was a global superstar, she was just a backwoods Barbie growing up in my Tennessee mountain home, learning what mattered from those around her. She wasn't born with a silver and gold spoon in her mouth. In one of her most enduring songs, she recounted growing up with very little, wearing a jacket that her mum stitched together from scraps. My coat of many colours that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it proudly. In that song, she recalls how others laughed at her poverty, but she held on to her dignity. One is only poor, only if they choose to be. Now I know we had no money, but I was as rich as I could be. And this isn't just a nostalgic story, it's a bargain store of real human experience, where truth, wealth, and the rest of experience isn't measured in dollar signs or prestige. The candidates that we look for in our elections should understand the daily realities of working girl life, the struggle of Appalachian memories, and the value of community over status. They shouldn't look down on where people come from, nor should they treat voters like a dumb blonde or assume baby I'm burning with desire for cheap political spin. Dolly's leadership models demand accountability, basic work ethic, and real public health action. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean she backs down from a hard day's work. In her workplace anthem, she actually called out the frustration of everyday workers. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by, it's all taken and no giving. She captured the strain of broken systems where leadership takes credit while the people do the heavy lifting. But Dolly doesn't just complain, she also acted. When the global pandemic hit, she didn't just offer my blue tears or Heartbreak Express promises, she put up $1 million of her own money to help fund early research into the COVID-19 vaccine. She didn't treat science as a partisan issue or a game of puppy love. She stepped up as the seeker for solutions to protect public health, showing there was Jesus-level grace in action. When crisis hits, real leaders build bridges instead of walls. Through her imagination library, she partnered directly with Indigenous communities, including First Nations partners worldwide, to deliver millions of culturally relevant books to children, honouring native languages and local voices. She models true partnership, listening to Indigenous knowledge, empowering local communities, and ensuring that no child becomes a lonely come-and-down statistic. Furthermore, Dolly consistently stood as an unwavering ally to our Takatapui and Rainbow communities. In a world where politicians play a gamble either way and use minority groups as political footballs, Dolly's message has been clear. Family means everyone, no exceptions. Some are preachers, some are gay, some are addicts, drunks and strays, but not a one is turned away when it's family. She reminds us that love is like a butterfly, delicate and deserving of protection for every single person, regardless of who they love. In an era defined by political cynicism, her song World on Fire delivers a direct wake-up call to those in power. Greedy politicians, present and past, they wouldn't know the truth if it bit them on the arse. It's a sharp reminder that leadership requires radical honesty and action. While some politicians act like a tyrant or demand total ideological compliance, she creates islands in the stream of chaos where people can actually come together. She moves forward toward the light of a clear blue morning, proving that to know him is to love him applies to anyone who genuinely serves the common good. This election, as here you come again to the voting booth, don't let politicians treat your vote like hard candy Christmas scraps. Don't ask what you'd come in here looking like that when candidates show up only at election time making promises for tomorrow is forever. Ask them the hard questions. Do they lead with radical empathy like the coat of many colours? Do they champion working people like in 9 to 5? Do they respect Indigenous voices, defend rainbow communities and invest in real public health solutions? If we elect public servants who carry these ideals, we can leave the old flames can't hold a candle to you political nostalgia behind. Instead, we can board the peace train with the bridge with many cracks and build a society grounded in action from here to the moon and back. I Will Always Love You becomes a reflection of our collective responsibility to one another. Hello there, Kia ora podcast listeners. I'm going to keep this one relatively simple because you might want to go back if you are a Dolly Parton fan and have another listen to this particular episode, or give it a watch, although to be fair, the video is a very boring video this week. Today it's just me talking to the camera. There are around 45 different references to Dolly Parton songs buried in today's episode, and I had so much fun writing this. She has a music catalogue of over 3,000 different song titles. She was prolific, and one of the things that I think everybody has always really enjoyed about Dolly is that she never took herself too seriously and she was willing to love everybody for whoever they were. She was, a true global icon, and just judging by, I woke up to half a dozen messages this morning going, Dolly Parton! She was an icon and incredibly supportive, and the amazing stories coming out about her just sort of reflect that very clearly. And it's always tragic when somebody who is an icon to so many passes away. You never met her, never had a chance in hell of meeting her, but she is one of those people that everybody in some way feels like they have been touched by her. And I really love the fact that the Orville actually had this really nice element with Dolly Parton tied into a particular character. The character is called Havina, and I do mention her in this piece. She was played by Rena Owen, and Rena played the character twice. And in the story of the Orville, if you don't know it, which is the sci-fi Star Trek pastiche, there's a planet called Mocklin, and all of the inhabitants of this planet are male. And for years, people get raised believing there are no such things as female Mocklins, but it turns out that there is. Havina is a female Mocklin. She's been in hiding. She comes out of hiding to try and protect the rights of a young Mocklin in a big court battle. And it's an interesting look at what some of the rights and freedoms are that we take for granted. And then in another episode a couple of seasons later, she's sort of running a colony, and she has fallen in love with the music of Dolly Parton. And I think that's really hilarious. It's just such a strange thing to think, you've got this, it's 1,000 years in the future, you've got these people that are like, oh yeah, no, Dolly Parton is the way to go. And there's a hologram scene where Dolly talks to this character, and it's a really lovely scene. It's actually surprisingly touching for such a short amount of time. And Dolly feels like Dolly, she's just sitting there being herself, telling you what to do. And I think it is absolutely adorable. And when you see Dolly Parton show up in all kinds of things, being herself and having a lot of fun and telling people to love themselves and be themselves, that's really cool. But the thing I've found really interesting in particular about today and her passing is the number of people in particularly disinformation communities who are lamenting loss. And don't get me wrong, everybody has a different experience and view of these kind of big icons when they pass. But these people who are vehemently anti-vax praising Dolly Parton was one of the first people to pour private funds into, I think it was the Moderna COVID vaccine. She was determined to get people healthy and make sure that people were looked after and looking after each other. She poured millions over years into her Imagination Library, which was free books that started off just as a little thing in her own community in Tennessee and is now available in 5 countries around the world, where free books were sent to kids from birth to when they started school to help them learn to read. And she came in really early with Indigenous stories as well, because she wanted to help retain that oral tradition, that storytelling tradition, but also because she understood that sometimes native language vowel sounds and consonant sounds are different to what you might get from an imported language like we have here with English. And so that was a really cool thing that she tried to integrate into the stories. See, the thing's getting all glitchy. I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. So yeah, that's why I wanted to do an episode about Dolly Parton. That, and the only other thing that's really happened in the news today to talk about was Shubs, and I can't be asked giving that dickhead any time, even though he's outed a New Zealand First candidate for being a terrible person as well, which is something that, completely frozen. There we go. We'll see how this rolls out. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go now. It is almost time for dinner. And I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe, whatever the options are, wherever you're listening to this. I will catch you all tomorrow. Live long, prosper, be one with the force. Ka kite anō. See you next time.